Well, hello peoples of the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. For today's video, I'm actually really excited because obviously you see the title of the video. So you know we're in for a fun, silly, goofy time and I honestly cannot wait. So it's actually been it's been 2 years since I read 50 Shades of Grey. Let that sink in. I read it back when the pandemic first started in 2020 and now it's 2022. It's literally been 2 years since I read 50 Shades of Grey. It does not feel like I read it that long ago, but it's somehow 2 years. We are reading in this vlog How to Bang a Billionaire by Alexis Hall. I am so excited to read this because when I first discovered that this book existed, I went on Goodreads just to see like what were the reviews. Like, is it like marked really bad, marked really good? Because I have read a book called Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall and I loved it with 5 out of 5 stars. One of my all-time favorite books. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I think Alexis Hall is a really good writer. So I was like, I want to read more books by them. So I looked them up, I found this one and I was like, that looks silly goofy, like just by the title. And then I read a review. Now this review is from Rachel Reed's Ravenously. This is a review that they left on the 15th of April 2017. 4 stars. This book is the gay 50 Shades, except I actually liked it and I actually liked the characters and there were no inner goddesses. If we just do a little rewind, you will remember from my 50 Shades of Grey reading vlogs, which if you haven't seen, I'll link them down below. I hated how much Anastasia Steele, is it Anastasia Steele? I think I just made up her last name. I don't know if it's Miss Steele. It is Anastasia Steele. Anastasia Steele would not stop talking about her inner goddess, and like her inner goddess was thriving. Her inner goddess wanted more. So the fact that this book apparently has no inner goddess, it's like someone has listened out there and just given me what I deserve in life. And also, like it just said, it's a gay 50 Shades. Hello! One homosexual right here. I would very much enjoy reading a gay 50 Shades. That sounds very ideal for me. It has like a 3.9 average rating on Goodreads, which I don't think is that bad. So I'm not gonna expect this to be like a 5-star book or anything, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. I will give you the synopsis. Also, this video will have spoilers. I'm gonna like do these like I usually do all my videos where I share everything that's happening in the book. After I read the synopsis, maybe don't watch the rest of the video because I'm gonna talk spoilers while I'm reading it. I'm gonna give you the synopsis of the book so that we all have an idea as to what's going on. Rules are made to be broken. If England had yearbooks, I'd probably be Arden St. Ives' man least likely to set the world on fire. So far, I haven't. I've no idea what I'm doing at Oxford. No idea what I'm going to do next. And until a week ago, I had no idea who Caspian Hart was. Turns out, he's brilliant, beautiful, oh yeah, and a billionaire. It's impossible not to be captivated by someone like that. But Caspian Hart makes his own rules, and he has a lot of them, about when I can be with him, what I can do with him, and when he'll be through with me. I'm good at doing what I'm told in the bedroom. Oh, the rest of the time, not so much. And now that Caspian's shown me glimpses of the man behind the billionaire, I know it's him I want. Not his wealth, not his status, him. Except that might be the one thing he doesn't have the power to give me. Oh! We love reading a book about a man who is not emotionally available. Been there. If you don't know, that's me being sarcastic. I'm not actually genuinely serious because we do not want to be with someone who is emotionally unavailable for us, because that's why therapy is needed. Like, you know, we don't need someone who's emotionally unavailable because there's usually something wrong. But reading about it and like having the whole, I can fix him. It's a guilty pleasure, guys. It's a guilty pleasure. Let's just hope it's done well. I can't even look at you because I feel like I'm ashamed of myself admitting that I actually kind of like that, but it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Anyways, time to go read it, and I shall give you my updates as I read How to Bang a Billionaire. Imagine it was like a step-by-step guide, like a tutorial for everyone, all of us to follow so that we could bang a billionaire and become rich. It's the girl boss book, that's what it is. Okay guys, so I have started reading the book already and I only read the prologue, but just from the prologue, 50 Shades of Grey vibes already straight away. Got straight to it in the prologue, like honestly, Chains and whips excite me. Already happening. And I'm here for it. Literally in the prologue, Caspian's like, I can't keep doing this, like, I can't keep hurting you, I don't want to do it anymore. The Nathaniel person, which is obviously gonna be like, our Anastasia is Nathaniel. He's like, you don't need to do this, like, you don't have to be what he made you. So once again, like 50 Shades of Grey, it's someone that did this to Caspian. So like how in 50 Shades of Grey, someone did it to, oh my god, what's it, Mr. Grey. Someone like met Mr. Grey like that. It's like the same vibes. So I'm definitely already seeing the parallels to how this is similar to 50 Shades of Grey. You can tell they're in love because they're saying, I love you already. So, and then it's just saying, you shouldn't, nobody should. And then gets up and like leaves the room. Nathaniel, who's the main character, goes, he's mine, my beloved, my monster, my broken prince. He'll come back to me and I will save him from himself. I'm assuming that's obviously where the prologue ends. And now I'm gonna assume we're gonna go back to when they first met. And then we're gonna keep reading until we get to the point of the prologue. But yeah, literally straight off the bat, 50 Shades of Grey vibes. But the fact that we get that he's mine, my beloved, my monster, that's giving me Anastasia's inner thoughts. And when I read that Goodreads review, it said there was no inner goddess. That's giving me inner goddess vibes, so I feel like already I've been lied to. Okay guys, so I'm up to chapter 7 of the book and I've read 20%. I'm a little bit obsessed with it already. Like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared for myself what the journey I'm about to go through. Again, Alexis Hall, it's just his writing. It just hits. With Boyfriend Material, his other book that I've read, I just felt like he writes his characters and dialogue just so well and realistic to me anyways. And it just flows and feels very natural to me. And it's already the same thing as what's happening in this book. Like, obviously when you think of like what this book is about, it's about like this guy who gets with like a billionaire, who's like Christian Grey, that kind of thing. Like, obviously when you hear all of that, you're kind of thinking like, it's probably gonna be cringe. But so far, it's really not, because the main character is actually not Nathaniel. So the guy from the prologue, don't know who he is. I think it might have just been some random person, and it was just Caspian and some random guy. I think that was what the prologue was. I don't think it actually is the main character at all, because he was called Nathaniel and the main character in this is called Arden. So it wasn't the same person in the prologue. So anything I spoke about in the prologue, pretend that didn't happen, because it doesn't seem to be the same main character, because he was called Nathaniel. So unless he changed his name, it's not him. Anyways, so we're following this main character named Arden, and he's working as like a telephone operator at his college in Oxford, I think. The school wasn't called Oxford, but like it's in Oxford. I don't really understand it. Don't really think it's that important anyways, but it's in the UK, it's in Oxford, and he's working on the phones, and he has to like basically call old school college alumni and see if they want to come to this like charity ball that they're doing, where you have to donate to the school so that they can build more stuff, or like, I don't know, put more things into the school, or just help towards the education of it. And so Arden ends up calling people. He keeps getting hung up on when every time he says like, oh, I'm from this place, just calling to talk about this, they all hang up on it. But then he rings Caspian and he doesn't hang up on him, because he's like, please don't hang up, and he doesn't hang up. And the two of them start talking, and there's a little bit of flirty vibes from Caspian's end. And honestly, just from that alone, I started being like, oh no, I'm falling for the billionaire. And also just like with the writing, like I said, Alexis Hall was like writing like how his voice was like really stunning and gravelly and stuff. And I'm sorry, but those little, tiny little details are enough to make me start falling for fictional characters. It's those little details. If you tell me he has a stunning voice, I'm just gonna picture the most stunning voice in my head. Like, those little details don't help. It's also been mentioned that he's tall. Once again, those little details, it makes me fall in love with fictional men. So they talk on the phone, and Arden basically says like, oh, we're doing this ball on Friday. If you come, you can like hang out, you can donate if you want to, all this different stuff. And then Arden finds out that he just spoke to this billionaire who's like the third richest man in the UK. He has like 12 billion pounds in his name. Like, he's very, very, very rich. And he talks to his best friend and roommate named Nick, who's also called Nick Klaus. Klaus. I really wish he called himself Klaus, but he calls himself Nick. I guess maybe just Alexis Hall knew that if he called him Klaus, everyone would just picture Klaus from Vampire Diaries Originals, you know? But anyways, that's his roommate, Nick Klaus. And so his roommate's just like, you were just talking to this really rich guy and everything. And they have like little banter moments. It's very cute. Then the night of the ball happens. Arden gets ready to go. And then this guy comes to the door and he's like, Caspian Hart is waiting for you down in like the common area to bring you to the ball. Stunning. So he goes down, they have chit chats, there's banter again, there's little smiles. And then they're like both in like suits and tuxedos and stuff. And Arden doesn't have his bow tie tied yet. And so Caspian's like, hold on a minute, we need to fix that. So he makes Arden stand in front of him and he's behind him and then he ties his bow tie for him. The close proximity contact moment of doing a bow tie. Like, guys, it's so early into the book and I was already like, oh my god, I'm in love. I'm actually in love. Like, this is not normal. They start talking again and like Arden kind of says like, no, wearing a tuxedo is just not really my vibe. Like, I'd rather be in like jeans and just like a blazer or something like that. And then Caspian's just like, so why don't you go change then? You might as well be yourself and be comfortable. And he's like, you can go change, I'll wait. In fact, he's like, I'd rather you be comfortable, like be yourself, go change. How stunning. Christian Grey would never say that. Also, very sorry for all the comparisons I'm going to keep doing to 50 Shades of Grey. It's going to happen in this video. I'm not going to be able to not do it, so apologies in advance. Yeah, so he changes into his different outfit. That's great. They go to the ball, they have fun times and everything. Then Caspian kind of, oh no, then someone comes up to Arden and it's just like, why aren't you in a tuxedo? Like, this is, there's like a dress code. And then Caspian's just like, because he didn't want to, like that doesn't make him comfortable. We stan. Then they like get separated and he can't find Caspian for a while. Then eventually he goes to like this balcony area and he finds Caspian alone on the balcony. It was very much giving me Romeo and Juliet balcony vibes and I love that moment in Romeo and Juliet. So then they're on the balcony and they're just chit-chatting and stuff, like talking about different things in their past. We're finding out that like Caspian's father passed away, all these different things. And then Arden ends up on his knees and you know what he did. Suction was involved. I died. I literally died reading that scene because Alexis Hall writes smut so good. So then like Caspian, you know, arrives at his destination, if you know what I mean. And he's just like, so sorry. And he leaves. And he just leaves Arden on his knees on the balcony. What's going on, lads? I'm actually so terrified to keep reading this book because I'm going to start falling in love with this man. And like, as I said, Alexis Hall writes smut so good. And I'm scared. I am scared. Okay guys, so I'm on chapter 18. I'm almost at the end of not chapter 18, chapter 8. Also, I'm kind of out of breath, so excuse that because I'm currently going through a lot right now through this book. I can't really process it. It's a lot too much and yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, you guys all know what happened in the last part where the little, you know, I don't know how to say words and keep monetization. Where there was a certain job on the balcony, let's just say it like that. So that happened, Caspian left, and then Arden woke up the next day and everything, and he had a meeting with like the dean of the college, I think. And the dean was kind of just like, oh, I'm just here to like thank you because we got a really huge donation because Caspian left a really good one because you must have left a really good impression. And we're actually going to call the donation a certain scholarship for under like people who don't have the money to get into like the Oxford College, because Caspian and Arden were like talking about how it's easy to become rich when you're already born into that privilege of having a family who already has money. And like Caspian was saying like how he's very well aware of that he had that privilege, and like Arden was saying that like that's why certain people don't have it, so it's just not fair. And like some people could be real geniuses but they just don't have the financial aid that others have to like make themselves so successful. And so that's what clearly why he's made that donation for the scholarship, because he got the impression from the conversation, which that's just really, really cute. And then the fact that like now Arden thinks that the reason he gave that big donation is because he gave him that job on the balcony, so he thinks it's like compensation. So Arden's pissed because he's like, you can't pay me for like services like that. So he's pissed and he like, goes to Caspian's like building in London, like his office building, and he goes up and he gets really angry with him and he starts like ranting to him and stuff. And then Caspian then like understands that like clearly Arden actually liked him. He didn't need to compensate him for anything like that. Like, that's not how it works. Like, Arden actually likes you and all that kind of stuff. Now I think I am on the cusp of an office sex scene, and I am about to lose my mind. In fact, this is a male-male romance. Like, I just haven't read a lot of male-male romances that are like really smutty. So it's like I'm finally getting the content that I wanted from like the other books that I've been reading, where like it's male and female, and now I'm getting it in a male-male one, which is just stunning. They're like talking in his office and stuff. Arden's like, you clearly regret like being with me on the balcony and stuff. That's why you paid that money. And then Caspian says, I don't regret you. I can't stop thinking about you. Ew! And then Arden says, seriously? I hadn't meant to come across quite that pathetic or uncertain, but it was the last thing I'd ever have expected him to say. Caspian Hart couldn't stop thinking about me. Me. He must have meant it, though, because as I stood there staring at him blankly, he caught me by the lapels of my jacket and pulled me around so my back hit the window. My heart jumped, and I couldn't have told you whether it was excitement or fear. The glass was cold and solid behind me, but it seemed unreal just then, as though nothing held me but him. Oh God, a low groan, frayed and frantic. He sounded like that with his C-O-C-K in my mouth. I can't, I shouldn't, oh God. Yes, I whispered, yeah. Nah, I think it's actually about to happen. Guys, that was me buckling myself in with a seatbelt, guys, because I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
A few moments later.
I reached out to draw him closer, but he seized my wrists and pinned them over my head, stretching me out, making me helpless. His knee nudged my legs apart, slid up one thigh, brushed the groove of my groin as he leaned into me. He smelled far too good. Wow. They just kissed. They just kissed. Oh my God, they kissed. Ew, 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 ew. I'm about to push the next button, guys, because I just finished that chapter. When I push this button, and if this continues on from that exact sentence, I am going to go feral. Cut the cameras, I'm done. No, I just finished chapter 10, and by the way, we did not lead to a sex scene in the office, which, yeah, it's fine. We got kisses and everything, we got some stunning content, but there was no sex scene, everyone. Basically, like, Caspian was saying that, like, he can't do this with Arden. He's like, you don't want to be with me, like, I just can't have, like, anything casual or formal. I just can't do that. So it's giving very much Christian Grey when he was like, we can't be together, like, I can't do this, and like all this kind of stuff, and like how it led to the contract. It's giving very much that vibe. Arden's like says to him that, you know, you didn't have to send like that much money to like a donation to make a scholarship. You could have just sent me flowers. And then he's like, I get it, we're not a thing, I'm gonna leave. So he leaves. And then the next morning he wakes up and he has a package, and Caspian sent him flowers, which was so cute. It like time jumps a little bit, and like Arden's getting ready to do his exams because he's in Oxford obviously, and he's studying really hard to do his exams, and he's like really stressing. He's like panicking that he's gonna fail everything, which, mood, very relatable. He gets a call from Caspian and he's just like, how are you? I just want to check in, like, how are you? Good luck with your exams. He rings just to say good luck. Ew, what a joke. And then they just start talking about stuff, and then Arden's kind of like, why are you talking to me about this? Like, we're not a thing, like, stop. And then Arden literally says, that's nice, but this is not your problem. Another of his hesitations. No, but if it was, if you were, ... If I was what? If you were mine. Okay, so he says that. And I was like, ew, please, let's not have like a Christian Grey, like where it's being very like, kind of like he owns him, like if you were mine, all this kind of stuff. So I was kind of like, eeh, please end up being stunning. It did, because then Arden says, what if I was? What would you do to me? And then Caspian says, I'd want to make you feel safe and I'd make sure you never forget the extraordinary man you are. Like, he's being everything, well, not everything. He just has some similarities to Christian Grey, because obviously the whole, like, we can't date and all that kind of stuff, very similar to Christian Grey. But he doesn't have the disgusting toxicness of, like, trying to own him, and, like, he sent flowers, and he's just very caring, like, he's doing things. He also apologized. I didn't mention that. There was a part where he actually was like, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to, like, hurt you or anything, just about doing the donation. Like, he actually apologized, which Christian Grey would never do. It's just stunning. And I'm not okay. Okay, guys, so it is the next night. I know it probably looks the exact same as the same night, but it's a whole new day. Still reading the book. I am 45% through the book right now. I'm honestly really loving it. If I was to look at this in terms of like plot line and all of that kind of stuff, and like the whole book as a whole, I would say this is 3 stars currently, like, because it's nothing spectacular, like there's nothing amazing about it, but the way Alexis Hall writes smut. Only way I can explain this to you is, you know that trend everyone has been doing on TikTok and on social media where they're like, he's a 6, but he's like 6'4", and then you're like, oh, he's a 9, like, and then your rating goes up. That's why I feel like you're saying the book's a 3 stars, but the smut is like 5 out of 5 stars, and now it's just bringing the book up for me, because obviously, as I said, I haven't read a lot of male romances that have a lot of smut in them. So the fact I'm reading this, it's something that I'm not very used to. Like, the majority of the smut I've read is male and female, and the fact I'm reading a male one with this, that's this level, it's like, honestly, it's a whole new world for me. So I might be a bit biased with the rating of this book in that sense, but I can't help it. There is definitely the parallels to 50 Shades of Grey, very much parallels to 50 Shades of Grey. Also the fact that, like, Caspian, his name is Caspian, that begins with a C. Christian begins with a C. Then the guy is called Arden, and her name was Anastasia. That's 2 A's, so they're literally the same letters. Where I am right now in the book, this like moment happened where Caspian showed up to like a gay nightclub and saved Arden from a sexual assault moment that was happening in the book. So definitely trigger warning for that if you do intend to read this book. Caspian showed up and like made sure it stopped and like saved Arden basically. If you throw it back to 50 Shades of Grey, that also kind of happens where Christian shows up and like stops some guy with Anastasia, but it's very much like he had like a tracker on her phone and he's watching her and like followed her down, so it definitely felt a bit more weirder to it. But when I was reading this one, like this scene, what was happening with Arden, you were like hoping, like when I was reading I was like, oh my god, please Caspian, I need you to show up right now. Like you wanted it to happen, like you were like, Caspian, show up, where are you? So it didn't feel like the way you're like, ugh, why are you here, are you stalking her? It didn't have that same effect. He was invited to come out because it was like Arden had finished doing his exams, so he was going out for the night, and he had already told Caspian about like going out and like, oh, if you want to come, you can come. And then Caspian just went and he found where he was because like Arden had shared stuff on his like stories, so it just felt a bit more like not so creepy and like stalkerish, which is like the thing. Caspian's not coming off the same way that Christian Grey comes off, which is why I think also that I'm enjoying it more, because he's not as annoying as Christian Grey. Also, Arden is like very much into it, whereas with 50 Shades of Grey, Anastasia was a virgin and she had no idea about like this whole world of like BDSM and all that kind of stuff. Arden's into that kind of stuff and like he's all for it, like he's down for it, and he's not a virgin, like he's very into sex and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't once again feel like the same of Anastasia where like Christian's kind of taking advantage of her, that she doesn't really know anything. Arden does, and he wants to do it, you know? Like it hasn't even got to like the BDSM or anything like that, like none of that has actually come up really yet, but like he's for it, like he's all for it. So like it's once again very different to 50 Shades of Grey because he's not the same as Anastasia. So I think that's just why I'm enjoying it a lot more. And also earlier on in the book there was a stunning moment that involved a phone sex moment that was just insane, like insane. That's what I can't cope with everything that's going on. It's just, yeah. Okay guys, so it has been a few days since I last vlogged. I actually didn't really have any reaction because Sadly, it was giving the vibes of too good to be true, and then the true happened and it was too good to be true, because I stopped vibing with the book because they ended up like agreeing that they're gonna have this thing. Like obviously in 50 Shades of Grey, it's the part where they have to sign the contract before they do anything and all that kind of stuff. That's not in this book, there's no contract. It's honestly giving me more of the vibes of a sugar daddy, friends with benefits situation. That's honestly what it feels like to me, because the main guy, Caspian, who is obviously like Christian Grey, he allows Arden to like move into this like £1 million flat in London while he's applying for jobs, and they're gonna have like this 6-month like friends with benefits situation where when Caspian's finished his work stuff or whatever, he'll come over, they'll do what they gotta do to like get it out of their system, and then once the 6 months are over, that'll be it and they'll be done with each other. It's not a contract or anything, it's definitely just giving friends with benefits and sugar daddy. That's literally what I see. Obviously they've had sex now, they've had it I think 2 or 3 times so far in the book, and this is the thing. It's gotten very, very, very vanilla, and nothing wrong with vanilla. Stunning, like we need vanilla in our lives to like have, you know, variations. But when the start of the book was just giving the best and like it was just stunning smut, then we just got to the vanilla and I'm kind of just like, well, that was underwhelming. But I actually think the author, Alexis Hall, has done this as like a way for us to feel exactly like the main character, because Arden is also disappointed in the sex. Like he's kind of like, this is vanilla, this is boring. Like what happened to like the spice and like the passion that was in the start when like he did what he did on the balcony? And then when they had phone sex and everything, like, there was like a lot of passion, a lot of like dominance and everything there. And now it's just gone when they're actually having sex. It's very boring and just vanilla. And the main character's kind of like, well, this is not what I want. Like I want what we had at the start. And I also feel that way too. So I feel like we're meant to feel like the character. So if that's the case, that's honestly genius writing, because it clearly worked. I'm kind of hoping it gets like the stunningness, because they've like communicated, or Arden has communicated with Caspian like that. He wants the passion, he wants that back, like he wants Caspian to be like that again. And Caspian's just like, I can't do that, like I can't, like I don't want to hurt you and all this kind of stuff. And it's really, really cute, and like he's very sentimental to Arden, because Arden was also then thinking, because Caspian wasn't doing this, that he was like, maybe I'm not special enough, maybe I'm not great, or maybe there's nothing good that I'm doing. And then Caspian was just like, covered his mouth and he was like, shut up, you need to stop thinking you're not amazing and you're not spectacular and you're not like the best thing ever. And it was just stunning, the fact that he literally shushed him and it was like, do not speak ill about yourself, you are stunning. Like, wow, wow, Christian Grey once again could never do that. And then also, I don't know why I'm holding my Kindle, by the way, the cover's not even on that, literally don't know why I'm holding it. Also, after they've had sex both times, each morning when Arden wakes up and goes into the living room in the flat that he's staying in, there are giant bouquets of roses and literally little note from Caspian saying, thank you so much for last night. Once again, Christian Grey could never, like, wow. Hello world from this strange angle. We're vlogging from this angle just because I'm lying down while reading. Well, actually, in fact, I've had my like kova just sitting here on my chest and I'm reading like that. I am like 80-something% through the book. I literally don't have that much left at all. One thing here, like usually in a romance book, I do love the third act breakup moment where like the other one has to chase the other one to confess their love for them or something. That's obviously not what's happened here, because they're not in love with each other. But the thing is, what happened is Arden was looking through a magazine because Caspian was supposed to show up for dinner one night and they were supposed to like have sex in the way that like Arden's been asking for and all that kind of stuff, and he wants like Caspian to just be himself, be his dominant self, like to let it out. Caspian doesn't show up, so Arden gets pissed and is upset, and then he looks in a magazine and he sees a picture of Caspian with this other guy, like not kissing him or holding hands or anything, he's just there with another guy. And he's literally like, wow, he's in a relationship with someone else, I can't believe this. And he like gets really upset and leaves and goes all the way back up to Scotland, back to his family. It was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit dramatic because you didn't even see them kissing or anything. It was just a photo of him with another man. Like, I think you're jumping to conclusions that make it a tad dramatic. And then like Caspian shows up to like reassure him, like, please come back, like, I'll be myself, we can explore that together, and like I'll finally open up to you and be like the dominant self. And Arden was like, I'm a consenting adult, that's what I want, like, I really want you to be yourself with me. And now it looks like he's gonna go back to London with him, which, that whole third act breakup, it just felt so pointless and just felt like absolutely unnecessary. So I'm kind of just like, that's kind of ruined a little bit of the book for me because I just felt like that was extremely unnecessary. But besties, once again, this angle is really not it. But anyways, I am currently reading a scene where Caspian has decided he's going to stay for like the weekend with Arden in his I just realised Arden is far too similar to Harden and I don't like that. Anyways, we're moving along. Arden is like in his family house obviously with his mom and his mom's girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. They're after having dinner and Caspian and him are like washing up the dishes together, and this is what he says. I think it's just me being funny. You're not always what I expect you to be. That's Arden. And then Caspian says, when I'm with you, I'm not always who I expect to be either, and I like it. They're in love. They're literally in love. And like Caspian clearly loves him, and like, good for them. Good for them. Okay, besties, I have just finished reading the book. I'm not gonna hold up my Kobo like I keep doing because you can't see the covers. I don't know why I keep holding up my Kobo, but I finished the book and I actually think I'm going to give it, I'm trying to not be biased, but I think I wanted to give it 4 stars because in all honesty, no, I'm gonna go with 3.5. Maybe round it up to a 4 on Goodreads, but it's technically 3.5 because I just can't ignore the fact that, like I said, it kind of lost its pace and momentum for me when it just didn't get anywhere after that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's where I need to draw the line because as a whole, not that smutty. Like, it started off really strong, like I said. Like, I was like, wow, okay, we're going here. Then it just dies out. In terms of it being, like, similar to 50 Shades of Grey, kind of. Like, I can definitely see the comparisons as to why you would say this, like, a gay 50 Shades of Grey. Definitely can see those comparisons. Like, the two characters, very, very similar. Like, kind of get the vibe. But also, in terms of, like, just the smut content and, like, BDSM content, all that kind of stuff, nowhere near 50 Shades of Grey level. But also kind of a good thing because there is 2 more books in this series and I'm probably going to read them. I just don't think I'll do vlogs on them. I'll probably just read those like in my own time. So if you want to see my reviews for them, they'll be on Goodreads. I feel like those 2 books are going to expand more into that side of things. So maybe when I get to those books, it's going to be more the 50 Shades of Grey elements in that sense, if that makes sense. Basically, the book ended with obviously Caspian shows up to bring Arden back to London. Does all that, and then that night they obviously go to bed and they sleep in Arden's old bedroom and they share the bed together and they're very intimate and like cuddly in those moments. And like one of the things that I really love about this book is like its underlying like importance of consent. Like it doesn't necessarily talk about consent in a like very in-your-face way, but it's said, like it's implied so many times how important consent is, how you both need to be aware of what you're getting into, you both have to be agreeing to what you're going to do. Like it's very heavy in that sense, but it just never actually says like we need consent. Like the word consent does not actually really use that much, but it's just implied throughout the story. The 2 characters are kind of like talking about like how Arden's not able to touch Caspian, which obviously is in 50 Shades of Grey, like Anastasia is not allowed to touch Christian. And it kind of explores that in a way that is a lot better handled than it is in 50 Shades of Grey, in my opinion. Because in this, Caspian is kind of just like, I just don't like people touching me. I like to be the one who's in control. I like to be the one who has the power. I like to know like what I'm doing is what I'm doing. I don't like someone else taking that away from me. And the way he was saying it, like I'm not saying exactly like how he was saying it, but the way he was saying it made a lot of sense to me, and I was like, this actually makes sense, because I'm someone who's not a big fan of like hugs and stuff like that. Like I'm not a huge hugger or anything, so I can kind of understand where he was coming from, like the whole touch thing, as opposed to like 50 Shades of Grey. And I just felt like it was handled really well, and they kind of just talk through it. Arden and Caspian, they talk through it, and it's just like, well, I need to be closer to you by being able to touch you. I need to be able to know that I can give you a kiss. And like all that kind of stuff, like it's like I'm not gonna hurt you, I just need to do this. And then they work a way through it about how they can do it and how they can make those baby steps to make their relationship work. And it's actually just stunning because they're just communicating and speaking things through. And I think that's what makes this book so much better than 50 Shades of Grey, is the use of communication. Such a simple tool, but so effective. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna read the next 2 books. The book also kind of just ended like that with them in bed together. They were like cuddling and stuff. And like Arden was kind of like saying like how he can see the future happening with the 2 of them now because they're working on the relationship and like working through the things that Arden was having issues with. And then the book just ended like that. So I'm excited to read the next 2 books. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you'd like to follow me over on Twitch, I actually have just launched a Twitch and I'm gonna be starting to do read with me streams and just chatting streams over on Twitch. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, it's irishreader_, so you can go check that out. I'll also have a link down below. If you want to see more content from me, I have a Patreon where I upload monthly live shows. There's extra videos over there, all that fun stuff. And if you want to follow me on my other social medias, they're all linked down below. And other than that, that's going to be it for this video, and I shall see you all next time in my next one. So goodbye, guys.